Yo, what's up guys? New video, and we're talking about something that might be a bug, something that might be known by people, something that might be not known by people, or something that might be true or not true. We're gonna debunk the whole thing right here, and let's see. But there was this post of a perfect sniper artifact, and this is definitely an artifact I like to see. We have 11 plus 14 plus a 5, so that stacks up a whole bunch of 30 crit damage, right? Or does it not? And I thought it would. But someone in the comments actually mentions that multiple crit damage in artifacts do not stack though. Okay, that makes this a lot worse, and that does make a lot of things very worse. So here's a reply from Contos. This is the question that he asked, like, how does it work if a unit has 130 crit damage, artifacts with 30 crit damage, and crit damage good, single target crit damage kill 3? How does the calculation works in that case? Well, with crit damage good and crit damage bad, I did a little bit of testing that you see later in this video. Crit damage good, crit damage bad also works different than I thought it would. I have no clue, they don't have exact numbers to it. But this is the question that he asked, like, okay, how much crit damage do I end up with? He got a response apologizing for the delay. Well, nothing new with customer support. But they say that we have confirmation that for single skills will not stack. Okay, regarding to the calculation of exact numbers, we unfortunately cannot provide specific calculations. So they say it does not stack, but they don't say exactly what doesn't stack, how it doesn't stack, or what is exactly happening. In the clips after this, I'll go into some testing, and I definitely do think that it deserves a little bit more testing than what I did in those clips, because I got some weird results, and I definitely would like to invite you guys or someone from Reddit or someone that has a lot of time that likes to work with numbers and all of that kind of stuff to do like a thorough proper testing on this. And then, but this is just a video to bring it to light of like what's going on with this. Is this a bug? Is it intentional? I have no clue. Also, often before we did ask customer support about something like the Miho bug, I asked about the Triana Alicia interaction before, which was very weird that Alicia did take a turn if Triana was frozen, but didn't take a turn if Triana was not frozen. Completely didn't make any sense. They made that all to making sense right now, but those are the things that are highly technical within this game that customer support in most cases don't really know the answer to. So let's see right now if customer support is right here, or is it wrong, and is it what does and doesn't stack, because at some point I'm not even sure right now what does or doesn't stack anymore, because it's just, I don't know. So for the testing part, I'm actually completely going to redo this. I did this before and it was kind of messy back and forth, but let me actually write down the numbers and let's see how we go from there. So we are going to hit a Veramos. We're going to hit a Veramos with a Dark Cassandra that is pretty high on attack, pretty low on crit damage, and therefore we're going to see fluctuating numbers, because if we add some crit damage to this, it's gonna be a bit more. We removed the left side artifact because there's no stacking line on it too much, I guess, because you don't have a crit damage skill 3 in combination with a crit damage own, in combination with a single target crit damage. So we're going to use the notepad as well. Okay, so I guess we're gonna write it like this. How much crit damage is there on everything? And then also we're gonna have and then total CD. And then we're gonna make this a little bit longer once again. Okay. And this is totally not going to fit properly, probably, and I should use Excel for this kind of stuff, but I kind of just want to do it anyhow. Let's see what we can do if we just first start off with a clean crit damage skill 2. There's crit damage skill 2 on it and nothing else. So if we go for this artifact, let's see how much damage we're going to do. We're going to do 3 hits per, because there's a fluctuation in damage every time that you do a hit as well. So let's just see how much damage this is going to do. If we go for a, oh great, I put it there where you can exactly not see shit. Let's actually remove my logo for a second, and we're gonna put it at the bottom. That is probably the better way in this case. Oh, not make that bigger like that. Just make it longer, I guess. This way, yeah, okay. So we're looking at 19.5. So the first one is going to be a 19 this, and we have just a 21, and then we have a total of also 21. Let's do that 2 more times, and we're going to take the average number of the 3 of them, and then from there we're going to look into how much this would actually be. So if we go for this one right now, we have the let's just say this. And then one more try. How much crit damage is this? Pretty much exactly same. So I would say average. I'm not going to calculate the average exactly, but it's going to be something along this line probably. So that is the amount of damage that we do with just a clean crit damage skill 2. Let's quit that right now and let's try another artifact that is presumably not stacking. And that's where we can see some of the fluctuation in there. And I had a pretty good one in here that's on this one. We do have a little bit of extra damage on this, but I think it's my best example artifact that I can get. Let's see if we can get one that's maybe a little bit better. It's kind of similar style. That's kind of a similar thing. This one also has a little bit more, like all of my lines have like multiple of everything, and I don't want to have anything in there that could fluctuate the damage even more. And I think most of these things have a lot of things that have fluctuating damage in there. So we're going to take this one. We keep in mind we have a little bit additional damage from speed, but I don't have too much speed in there. So, well, I have a decent amount of speed, but it shouldn't fluctuate too much on that. So in this case, the artifact is looking like an 8 plus a 12. So we would have a CD on of 12 with a CD max of 8. So technically we should be looking at a 20, right? So this 20 should do about the same damage as this, if it does stack. If, as they say, it does not stack, we're going to see a lot less damage than that 19k point something. So let's see how much damage we're doing over here. We're doing 20k. So 20k is looking a little bit more. Wait, is that more? Is that something that I expected? No, that's actually not exactly what I expected. But we're looking at 19.90-ish. Okay, let's retry that one more time. So it does look that it's stacking, but it looks actually that we're doing a little bit more damage, and it could be that additional damage by speed. But we're looking at a little bit more damage rather than just that 21 crit damage from the previous artifact, if I'm not mistaken. Let me actually double check why. This is actually way higher damage right now. How can this be higher damage than it just a straight up 21? Because this is technically a 20. And we have a little bit extra from this though. But how is that doing more damage than just a crit damage skill 2 straight up? Because a crit damage skill 2 straight up that we just had, which was this one, should actually do more. But this one is definitely, it was doing, like if we average it, it's probably even closer to this, right? That's not making too much sense. Because I thought it was not stacking. Then we're going to check out an artifact. Let's see if we can have an artifact that... Let's see if we mix in the match like a first skill artifact that is a lot higher in combination with a first skill. I'm not really sure if I have those though. But let's look if we can find something. And this is just kind of the interesting thing about all of this. It's just hard to find things that stack. Okay, this one is definitely something that would stack, so that it would be a... whoops. Next line, we would have a 6 over here, and then we have a 9 over here. And that's pretty much all the damage that would be to it right now if we engrave this one. So that would be a 15 in total. So it would definitely do less damage. Some add damage. Yeah, there was that 25 add damage, and I think the 25 add damage was actually adding this extra damage here for over that crit rate. So this one would still count as a 20. So that definitely did count as a 20, and that was definitely added onto it, right? At least I assume. I don't know. I'm being so confused on these numbers right now. Let's see how much we do over here. We do a 19,649 in this case. So it definitely still looks like a 15 rather than just a straight 9. We're going to see if we can find an artifact that just has a straight 9 in there. So we're looking at 19 in this case, just a straight 19. So we're looking at an average of around this right now. And if we do one more time, we're looking at a lot lower. Why are these numbers so highly fluctuating, man? Like, this makes it so difficult. You would have to do them 10 times and then take an average to get like a proper average in this. But I would say that average of this is probably something along the line of this. So we do see like a 19k 0.1. Yeah, I would say probably along the lines of this. Man, the damage is so much fluctuation, so that it's pretty hard to get anything in there for testing. Let's see if we go for just a crit damage skill 2, that would be around the 9, just a 9. So we're just looking at a total of a 9. I'm not really sure if I would have any of those, but let's see if that is in there somewhere. Just a 9 something, nothing else. This is actually perfect, it's an 8. It's pretty close too. So in this case, we're just gonna look for a 8, and then this is going to be an 8. So that could definitely, this would be a stacking number if it does stack, and this would be a clean number. So this should technically be the same as this if it doesn't stack, pretty much, right? Something like that would make sense. Let's see if we go for this right now, and let's see what kind of number we are getting. So if we go for this one right now, we're going to look at an 18.550. Let's try again. And this is actually weird because in my previous testing, well, I did kind of mess up my testing quite a bit, and it did look like they were not stacking. And this definitely does look like a lot less damage than what I had on the 15. And the 15 is a stacked number. So that's kind of weird, right? Yeah, this is definitely looking something along the lines of this number. So we definitely can see the fluctuation in having less crit damage here than what we had with the other one. And now it was literally doing like 1k extra damage. This damage fluctuation is screwing me over so much. But I would say that average is probably around... Yeah, I would say something along the lines of that. So we definitely do see... Let's take an artifact that has a little bit of everything. So we're probably going to have an artifact that has some crit damage 2, some crit damage max. I think the crit damage max works even in a weirder way. Let's just see if we can go for a clean crit damage max without anything else. Because this would be an artifact that would be a lot of everything, but I just want an artifact that is crit damage max and then nothing else. But I'm pretty sure I don't have them because I have these kind of artifacts where everything is just in there. This is a crit damage max of just 17. So if I'm not mistaken, and I do tend to say that a lot, as someone mentioned on Reddit, this should be a clean 17 increase right now because the enemy is full HP. Let's see if that actually is also the case. So we're going for a crit damage max on 17, and then it's a total of a 17. And we're going to see how much damage we're doing. Okay, so just the 17 should be doing a little bit more damage than the 15 that we had before, right? How much damage we're looking at? We're looking at a 1991... Yep, that's... Let's see, one more try or two more tries, three more tries, something along that line. Let's see how much damage we have. We have a little bit less. Let's lower the number by... I don't really want to calculate the exact averages and that kind of stuff, but that's just how it goes. Let's see. And that number is actually quite a bit lower. So the number would be somewhat more around 6, which is still... does that make sense? That does somewhat make sense. Yeah, okay, the number is somewhat lower on that. But it does make sense that it's around this number and it's lower than that number. But it definitely does make sense for it to be around that. Okay, that's a lot less damage, but I would say that it's probably something around like 5 or 4, which does mean that this is equal to that with a crit damage max. Now let's take in a crit damage artifact that has a little bit of everything, as I like to call it. And those are always the artifacts that I praised for being good artifacts. So in this case, we have a crit damage, well, we have a own skill plus this, so that's technically a 30. This one doesn't work at all, I think, because at least that's how I thought it worked, like a threshold gouge. Like if you're at 0% HP, you would take the full 9. If you're at 100% HP, you take the 0. And then this one, it's the same thing in reverse. That's how I thought it would work, but I'm not entirely sure anymore because I've done too much testing of this and I just don't know anymore. But let's see. Let's just take this one first. Do I take that one first? No, let's take this one first. This one is a nice combination of everything, right? So this one would be a... If we calculate it all together, sounds like a Dora episode right now. So we have this, we have that, and then we have a 5 over here. Can we actually not remove the numlock? Thank you. And that would look like something like this, plus my potato math is a 33, so that would do a lot more damage than any of the other artifacts we've seen previously. if I'm not mistaken. So let's see, is my math actually correct? My math is mathing. So let's see how much damage we're looking at. We're looking at 20.756. Let's do 2 or 3 more rounds on that. And it's definitely looking like a lot more crit damage than what I was doing in the previous round, right? 21, yeah, that's, we can even up this number like something like this. And that's definitely a combination artifact that does seem to work. And I think we're kind of, wait, you guys can't even see that. Ah, yep, now you guys can see. You guys can see that my math was mathing. So, okay, this is a little bit less damage, but I think for these damage lines, it kind of does make sense. And I still would like to invite someone to do some thorough testing on this of checking if the numbers are actually right. First hit was like 500 above this, then we had a few hits that were like way below this. But it does seem to be right to do a lot more damage than what we can see in a 21, and the 21 is a clean 21. So definitely doesn't seem to be right for what the Countless customer support is saying. And it does seem to be a lot more. So looking at this, this would technically be a 30 because this one shouldn't count. So let's give a look at this one. And I'm also just placing my artifacts all over the place right now. So with this artifact, we have a, once again, we have a 24 here. We have a 9 over here. Technically shouldn't work, so that one we're not going to calculate. And we're going to have a 6 over here, so we should be looking at a 30. That's how I think it works with crit damage is max and crit damage is low, but I could be very wrong on that as well, because at some point, if they just don't mention how things work, we're going to have to figure it out and try it out. And this is how we're doing that kind of stuff, right? So we're doing a 20k 0.1 right now. That's a lot less than I expected, because that's looking a lot more closer to this, but that could be a pretty low number as of this case of just happening to hit right now. Okay, that's 20.5. That's still a lot lower than I expected from to be close to that 33, isn't it? That's odd. So at some point, I'm not sure what's stacking and what's not stacking, because this seemingly is doing a lot less damage than what the S2 in combination with the max and in combination with the own is. So there could be a factor. Okay, this damage was a lot higher. This was actually... Okay, it's going up a little bit with the damage that I'm doing right now. But just 3 crit damage for the amount of damage less that I had is feeling kind of weird. And it's also, why can I not just do the same damage over and over? Like, please, come to us. Is it that hard to do the exact same damage every single time? Why is there a fluctuation of like 1k in damage? Okay, this hit was quite a bit higher, so I think this would be the true number. So 3 crit damage for that kind of lowering. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does kind of make sense, I guess. If we check, if this goes down, let's say 400-ish, I do feel like there's something in here that is stacking and that is in here that's not stacking, though. So let's just run a few more tries. Do I have something that's just a clean crit damage max of 24 and then nothing else? Okay, this is something that we can also try. We're just going to make this list longer and longer, and there's... Oh, wait, not like this. Like this. And this is probably the last try that I will do, and then afterwards I'm gonna leave to you guys to do some more testing if you guys like it or not. So we would have this kind of damage in there. And let's engrave this artifact, and then let's see how much damage we're going to do with this. And the list is pretty much getting that long that you can't see jack shit on it anymore on the screen. But let's see, how much damage are we doing on this one? We're doing a 20... Wait, isn't that like way more damage than... No. It's, well, it's a little bit more damage than the 33 that we had over there. But let's see, maybe the crit damage own is just the one that's not really the stacking one. I have no clue at this point. So we have, okay, we're lower the damage by quite a bit on average. Yep. Because that was quite a bit lower hit than what we have seen before. Let's do a few more hits. Okay, that's definitely something more along the lines of this than the previous number it was. Could it be that just the crit damage own is the one that's not really fully stacking? I don't know. I definitely did think that this was doing more damage than what this is doing right now. Which is just weird, I say. Okay, so I would say that this is about the right number. I would say something along this line, but that is like there's something here that is not stacking. Because we have that 6, technically we have 30 here. Doesn't count, let's just say DC, whatever, for something like that. But this 30 was not showing 30 results, whereas this 28 is showing 28 results. So there is something not stacking and there's something is stacking. But I don't know, man. This completely doesn't make any sense to me. It makes sense to a certain extent that are some things that are stacking and some things that are not stacking. The only thing I can maybe conclude from this is that crit damage own is the one that's being the worst, and that's also being the worst one in stacking. However, we do see that this crit damage own here plus a crit damage skill 2 does stack. So is it maybe the crit damage own plus this that doesn't stack? I don't even know, man. There's also too many variables to test this. So, guys, if you know the answer to it, let me know in the comments. I don't know anymore. You guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you think this is a bug? Do you think that this is intentional? Do you think that Comparative should actually explain what the hell is going on? Rather than just say like, here's my crap, you figure it out. I don't know, man. Guys, let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this video and see you as always.